Hello, Amanda. Thank you so much for sitting down today to talk with me about your project in theater and war.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So why don't we start? Can you just share a little bit about kind of who you are and what your role is here at Stuart?
Sure. So I've been teaching upper school English here for the past 12 years. I actually started in the middle school, and then I came to the upper school in 2014. And I've also spent a little time directing, working with the middle school players as well.
Great. So I want to jump right into this play because going to see it, right, and talking to so many of the students about the project, it was absolutely amazing. It was funny. It was dramatic. There were so many moments, though, that just felt so organic and that I think so many people could identify with. So
Thank you.
where did In Theater and War come from?
Well, I think so. A lot of it came from my own experiences in community theater. And so I kind of look at it as a love letter to community theater. And all of the, it's a very unique experience. You really do build this sense of family, and you have the opportunity. It's not like, say, high school theater or college theater where you're together for a short amount of time, like 4 years tops. Like, you can spend years and years putting on plays with the same people and really building these awesome relationships. And then at the same time, community theater has its unique set of I guess we could call them challenges or opportunities, depending on how you look at them. And so you really do have to be creative in working with what you have and kind of learning to deal with setbacks, challenges, like when a bat flies through your scene or where you just don't have a supply of costumes or props. You kind of have to just repurpose things to make them work.
Which I think is such a good lesson for, let's say, a bunch of high school actors, really kind of thinking about what it takes to put on a performance, and really understanding, though, how the art itself is important, right? How it's important to so many people that they're willing to do whatever it takes for the show to go on.
Right, absolutely.
And so it's one thing to write this, right? But what was it like to then bring it here to Stuart and serve essentially as a playwright in residence?
It was amazing, and it was such a gift because I've had the opportunity to direct my own work, and so I kind of was already familiar with that process in bringing a script and working with students and seeing them bring a character to life and really just watch the characters grow up with them because they're making them into multidimensional people. More so than I could have ever done or imagined in my head. But then this experience of Jan directing it and her bringing her vision to it and really just, again, imagining so many opportunities that I never saw in my head, and what it would mean to actually put it on stage. Like, that has been such an amazing gift to see it evolve into something that's lifelike.
And did you, through that process, edit, tweak, change? Like, what was that process like for the work itself and you as a writer?
Yes, I mean, I was editing up until, actually even after the production, just because I was able to see what the audience responded to. But organically in rehearsals, I would see, actors maybe say a line in a way that was different from the script, and it would maybe make more sense. Like, the way they delivered it, it was, more streamlined, or it was more in character. And so I did have the opportunity to see, to edit as we went, and choices that Jan made, especially with the physical piece, the physical comedy. I was able to make changes so that it really reflected the beautiful production that they put on.
What a gift to give our students and our community. I imagine it's quite a vulnerable kind of place to be in, trusting a group of actors and a director and others with, right, something that is yours and so personal, I think.
Yeah, it kind of feels like your baby.
Yeah, I imagine it does. I have never produced an original play, but I imagine that feels like something very close to heart, and to kind of hand that over, I imagine, is in and of itself both a risky yet humbling experience.
Yes.
Am I on point at all with that?
Yeah, all of that. Like it feels like it's time for them to grow up, and that they get to go out into the world and meet people. I know that sounds really cheesy, but yeah.
I think it explains. I think it helps those of us who don't know what it is like to create in this way to better understand what that feeling is for a writer to do that. You know, taking a step back from this, or thinking about the experience, and I know you shared that there was some inspiration that came out of this process, and you had mentioned that you decided to go audition, to perform again. So what did you do, and why, and how did that evolve from this project and experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just reminded, just in going to the rehearsals and watching the students be involved in the play, it reminded me of just how much I loved and missed theater. I kind of stopped performing about 10 years ago because I was having a baby, and a lot of time has gone by, and I think, I just kind of got busy with life, and every time I saw an audition notice, I always had this like excuse in my head, like, I have no time, I'm so tired. And then eventually I just kind of realized that there are just some things in your life that they don't suck energy from you. They actually give you energy, and they energize you, not just when you're doing it, but you really throughout your whole day if you have it in your life. So
wait, so what are you performing? What are you doing?
So I actually just finished a production of Best Christmas Pageant Ever at Newtown Theater, and that was really cool because I got to perform with my son for the first time. He just started getting into theater, so we got to do it together.
What a special experience. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'd like to also think about being a teacher, an English teacher, how your experiences kind of in the dramatic arts, if you will, in the performing arts, impact or influence your teaching.
I think it absolutely has. And I think I'm always trying to find ways to bring whatever it is that we're working on, the words on the page, to life, and to make it as interactive as possible. So whether it is performing a poem out loud, or, obviously when you're studying a play, it's a little more, it's easier, I think, to find those connections, or even just when you're reading a novel, turning it into a scene and just letting them hear the language, step into the characters. I think that the students get more out of that process, and they're able to connect more to the literature that we're reading. I try and bring it in as much as I possibly can.
Have you done any playwriting lessons with students at any point in your career?
I have. We ran, I think it was a couple years back, we ran a 1-week playwriting seminar. I think it wasn't March term, but it was before March term. And we actually did, that was really cool because we kind of stopped everything for a week, and they were able to write a short play.
Wow.
So that was a lot of fun.
I think as educators, we're always looking to create and evolve, and
yes.
Both for our students and also for ourselves, right? To re-energize us. So in an ideal world, what kinds of, whether it be a course or an intensive, right? If you were able to design any type of lesson or experience in this area, what would that be?
It's a good question. I mean, I'd really love to do something like that again. I really liked it would be fun as a trimester course, but I also really liked that we weren't doing anything else except for that over the course of a week or two. That's how I write. I really can't write during the school year just because I find it very hard to actually sit down and concentrate. So I pretty much do all of my writing in the summer, so that I'm like living that play or that story, and I feel like it's easier for me to focus.
Well, and it follows the model of so many writers' workshops and,
right.
How we find creative writing intensives to really work and to live in it, right? I think that's where so much of the authenticity of characters and world building, right? I think you have to just like completely immerse yourself in that world, because once we step out of it, it can often be hard to fully
to get back in. It takes a while to get back in. And I would imagine I'm actually probably pretty difficult to live with while I am living in it, because like just ask my husband, I'm constantly talking about, what do you think about this character doing this? But yeah, I think it is like, for me, it's the only way that I can kind of be in that creative process.
I think a lot about our students who are really just so immersed in the arts. They have such a passion for not only theater, but film and creative writing and poetry. And for those students who really are trying to envision what that might look like for their future, what kind of advice would you give? And maybe specifically, what kind of advice would you give to a student who either wants to pursue let's say playwriting and or acting as a future endeavor?
Okay. It's because, I guess I was just going to say whatever that looks like, the pursuit of that, whether you're pursuing it as a profession or you just know that you love to do it, I would say to always find a way to keep it in your life somehow. That would be like my first piece of advice, to recognize that that brings life and energy to you, and find a way to bring it in. Don't make excuses like I don't have the time. But I guess the other piece of advice, and I think a million other writers would give this too, that would be to really honor the messy first draft and whatever it is that you're creating. I'm trying to give that advice to myself right now. I've spent the past 4 years in like writer's block. I've been trying to write something new, and I think I've figured out that the reason is because that inner critic is speaking too much, and it's not really allowing any words to make it to the page. So I would say, to anyone who really enjoys creating art, you have to allow room to just allow your authentic voice to speak. Get the words onto the page. There's plenty of time to edit afterwards, but otherwise you're just going to keep killing off all of these good ideas before they've had a chance to actually make it onto the page.
I so appreciate that advice, not only for the creative types, right, who are working through that process, but I think that advice spans so many disciplines and fields and projects. So thank you so much for that. We are going to take a quick break here before we return with one of our favorite segments, 20 Questions with Miss Cutalo. And welcome back to Tartan Talk. We are here with Amanda Cutalo, writer in residence, English teacher extraordinaire, and we are ready for our favorite segment, 20 Questions. So we have some rapid fire questions coming your way. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Favorite Broadway play you've gone to?
Chicago, Pippin, Into the Woods, Rent, Sound of Music.
I'll take all of them.
Yes.
First theater experience?
I went to see Cats when I was 8 years old.
Oh my gosh, I went to see Damn Yankees at the same time.
Yeah. I hated Cats, by the way, but I love the theatrical experience. I will never see Cats again, though.
That's all right. I think Damn Yankees was not right for a 7-year-old, but it's okay. Favorite TV show?
Gilmore Girls.
First theater experience?
Being in a show?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was 15 years old. I did a summer theater production of Bye Bye Birdie, and I was hooked. I played one of the telephone girls, and it was so much fun, and I just fell in love.
I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but I went to theater camp, and I, too, played one of the telephone girls. in Bye Bye Birdie, so I love everything about that. Favorite class to teach?
That's hard. I guess I would pick American Lit.
Least favorite thing to teach?
I mean, I guess, all right, this might be a cop-out answer, but I guess teaching a book that is required that I don't personally connect to. Because I think that's difficult. If I can't connect to it, then how will I expect my students to?
I don't think that's a cop-out answer at all. I agree with it completely. What did you study in college?
I was an English education major and a minor in theater. And then I went on for my master's in English.
What is your favorite sounding word?
Oh, that is a really good question. Oh, man. I guess I would say discombobulated. It's a fun word to say.
It is a fun word to say. Ocean or mountains?
Ocean.
Favorite music while you work?
I cannot listen to music while I work. I need actually complete silence. I love music way too much, and I would not be able to focus on it because all I'd want to do is get up and dance.
Favorite artist or band?
NSYNC.
Same. They somehow showed up on my Spotify Wrapped this year, which makes no sense, but...
That's very exciting, though. Yep.
What do you collect, if anything?
I used to collect Broadway playbills, but I've kind of stopped that because I ran out of space. So, but no, not so much anything anymore. Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies outside of the theater?
Reading and writing. If I have a free moment, that's what I'm doing.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Do you have a favorite museum?
I really like going to the Met. I would say that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ignoring improbabilities, which animal would you want as a pet?
I used to have dogs, so I would go. My husband and son are allergic, so
no
more.
If you could eat 3 meals, only 3 meals for the rest of your life, one for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for dinner, what would they be?
Okay, so I would probably go with nachos with all of the toppings, rigatoni vodka, and I don't know, a really hearty breakfast, like a good ham and cheese omelet or something like that.
Respect that.
Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list?
I want to make it to Italy at some point. That's on the top of my list right now, but nothing off the top of my head though.
I would recommend you talk to none other than Marissa Moyo when you're looking to finally make an itinerary.
I will.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Usually I go to Jewel, You Were Meant for Me. And I like Evanescence too.
Do you have a New Year's resolution?
I want to write a new play. I have an idea. I have 3 ideas. I want to choose one of them and actually get it down on paper.
Well, I have no doubt that you'll be able to do that. And again, I can't thank you enough for sitting and having this conversation with me. And more broadly, thank you so much for gifting our community with your work and your art and sharing that part of you with us. It was really, we were really lucky for that.
Thank you, Kristen. It was just as much of a gift for me. And thank you so much for having me.